All right, guys, in celebration of 420 for the year of 2022, I'm going to be reacting to some outrageous stoner TikTok videos that I gathered over the last few days. And all I can say is, as someone who used to be addicted to weed and no longer smokes, thank God TikTok and social media wasn't around when I was younger, because there's a good chance I could have been in one of these videos just as easily as one of these younger people are. So I don't say this out of judgment, but hopefully we cover some good ground today, and I don't know, let's have fun with this. So the first thing that you see onto my side here is a girl saying, after bringing my dab pen through TSA. Now, my first piece of advice: if you have done something illegal while you were under the influence, stop bragging about it. Stop posting social media about it. That is a federal crime. And you never want them to be able to dig that stuff up on you, okay? Irrelevant of how cute or funny you might think the video may be. And she's not alone in doing this.
Airplanes are fun with pens. Adrenaline pumping. Make sure to bring your pen. What you doing? What? Oh, why did I do that? I looked down. Well, have a good day. Enjoy your pen.
I just imagine something going wrong on the plane and like oxygen masks dropping down, which happened to me once when we hit really bad weather flying to like Germany or something with my family. And I just remember how scary that was. I could only imagine that situation if I was under the influence of a dab pen. I honest to God think it would have resulted in a heart attack. Now, to address this young lady's question, this looks dumb. Yes, this is very, very, very dumb. I would agree with her. This video was dumb. The concept of glamorizing bringing drugs onto a plane, breaking federal law, is dumb. I mean, like, she could get charged for this just on this content alone if someone really wanted to do that. Now, even bigger picture, has anyone followed the story of the young female NBA player who is currently jailed in Russia for flying with medical marijuana? Like, while Russia was invading Ukraine, she was arrested at a Russian airport. And as far as I know, I think she is still being held captive in Russia. I don't know if and when she's ever going to get back. And I feel terrible for that young girl, because I think a lot of athletes use marijuana medicinally. I think there's a lot of athletes that struggle with addiction that don't get an opportunity to get help or talk about it because they are in the spotlight all the time. But this isn't a joke. Like, this just happened. Imagine being stuck in Russia jail, in a Russian jail during a war with Ukraine and potentially everyone else in the world because you were transporting marijuana on an airplane. Insanely bad idea. And people are like, oh, I'll just tell them it's CBD. They test that stuff.
You make me a maniac, but you don't know. Well, baby, like, shit is crazy, right?
Okay, so what's going on here is this girl's basically saying she's a kid, referencing other kids that smoke carts and saying your lungs are going to collapse. So that's a good PSA, because the carts were responsible for lungs collapsing. What's funny about this, though, is this smugness that I see among the 420 community of, oh, I do edibles, so somehow I'm superior to you. Oh, I don't smoke carts, I smoke dry herbs, so I'm somehow superior to you. It's the smugness in this that really, really bothers me. And I'm going to guess there's probably a chance or two that she's consumed carts before. It's just likely in that age range. If you smoke weed, you probably had some experience with it. She was luckily smart enough, though, to realize what was going on. Maybe she saw some news, had some friends who were in tune with what was happening. Unlike me, who it took a while to figure all that out. Now, that's my big beef with something like this. And also, there's tar involved in smoking dry herb. Like, there is nothing good for your lungs or your esophagus or your throat when it comes to inhaling dry herb. That's often one of the arguments for vaporized products, that they actually might be safer in regard to lung health and esophageal health. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the black market stuff. These people's lungs, their x-rays literally looked like they were poisoned with mustard gas. I mean, like something you'd see in chemical warfare, and I'm not making that up. Very, very scary, but the smugness, it bothers me.
It's working. Bro, why did the thing...
This is how you know you're a fiend. When you're doing stuff like this just to get another hit, and I see videos like this all the time, you have to pause and like just pause and reassess stuff. Just reassess where you're currently at in life, reassess the direction that your life is going. And this bothers me because people think of marijuana and they're like, oh, it's not crack. It's not like you're a crack fiend. And we think of a crack fiend like itching and, you know, just rumbling around and all this stigma with it. And it's funny though, because the behavior that I see on TikTok videos, especially among a younger population, and that I once exhibited myself, it may as well been crack. Like it might as well been crack. And people are like, oh, you can't fiend pot. You can't fiend this. You can't fiend that. Yeah, you absolutely can. And the behaviors being exhibited show that. They prove it. So it's always that downplay. That's a side tangent of, well, we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, this video is not so bad. I see what they're saying. I actually think this video might have something to do with addiction recovery, and they're pointing out a good point. And hopefully this video actually just resonated with some other younger people. How sad is this? Look how young these people are. That's what really actually gets to me. But I'm glad she shed some awareness on that topic, because that's usually indicative of a problem. But look how young these people are. When he gets you your own dab pen. And then it just has to go with all the sexual references that go along with it, which whatever, do what you want. I understand we're in the 21st century or whatever, but like so young. And a lot of this is just self-perpetuating, right? A lot of people would say, you know, that's an attractive person there, right? She's got, 14 years old. So among someone else who's 14, they may say that's an attractive person. And what happens? Other young females, other young males see this person perpetuating the dab pen. Oh yeah, I got my own. You should have your own. Oh, if she does it and I think she's cute, I should do it too. Or, oh, if I see a hot guy or a hot girl doing that, a social media influencer, I should do it too. You see, this stuff just sells itself. Companies, it's pretty amazing. They require zero advertising to run their funding and stuff because they get all this free advertising on platforms like YouTube and TikTok and Twitter and all that stuff. Oh, so he's at least admitting to addiction there. That's respectable. And a lot of people ran into that same scenario. I did. Got a dab pen for at my house when I was back living at home as a grown adult so it wouldn't smell. It did smell, and then I got really addicted. So I respect this post, actually. And that's really it. I actually think it brings some awareness. Then again, I don't understand the purpose in just randomly sharing this. I guess I don't understand that. Like, is that a flex? Is it a cry for help? Is it maybe a little bit of both? Is it to try and relate to someone and connect to someone else? I don't think you would have seen videos of me high doing dumb stuff, but you wouldn't have seen me just coming on being like, brought my dab pen on the plane, got high at home tonight alone. Well, like I don't see the end goal to that. Like you're not going to monetize that content. So maybe it's a cry to help. And you know what? I respect that because a lot of people reach out on social media for help. All right.
Bro, what the fuck? There's literally no better place for a fucking blinker. Cheers.
Okay, so referencing hitting a blinker in traffic. So this is not a good thing, a scenario like this. Again, here you are essentially admitting to breaking the law. And we're going to watch another video of his, and then I'm going to tell you about how bad this can actually get. And you're doing it on camera, which we're going to talk about why that's so bad.
I'm not even trolling, rolling like Nolan. Is there even a better time for blinkers? Like, come on. Minimum mandatory 2. I'm not even trolling one more time, Nolan.
Okay, so, right, I take blinkers in the morning, I get in my car, and I drive to work or go to do whatever I do during the day. In Buffalo, Erie County, New York right now, there's a case being tried where a man was under the influence of THC. He had smoked it a few hours prior, but still tested positive with fairly high levels in the blood. He ran into an apartment complex and killed someone. Now, he was also under the influence of other substances, but they're not talking about that in the court case. No, they're focused on driving under the influence of THC. Okay? Right now, he's being charged, potentially, maybe charged. He has a court case coming up with vehicular manslaughter while driving under the influence. Okay? If this dude were to even get into a fender bender, and the other party's attorneys went and dug up his social media and this came out, he's screwed. He's automatically screwed. And even worse, his insurance might choose to drop him if he's in a state where your insurance has the right to do that and not cover any damages. Then he would become personally liable. That's what can happen if you're driving under the influence. Especially in a case if you're ever charged with vehicular manslaughter, your insurance in most states has a right to drop you. And then you're responsible for personally paying for all the damages. They can garnish your wages. They can garnish tax credit checks. Crazy stuff happens to you when that occurs. Oh, I love this one.
You know, coke, heroin, Molly, acid, embalming fluid, cigarettes. I'm just saying, part of.
No, so many people love to do this. And I used to do this too. Oh, it's just weed. It's just marijuana. It's not a big deal. I could be drinking myself to death. I could be doing this. Well, you could also not be smoking weed or smoking cigarettes like a lot of people don't do. These videos drive me nuts because in my life, in my world, my THC addiction was a horrible addiction. As far as I'm concerned, it was comparable to someone else who has an opioid addiction. Someone else whose literally health is completely deteriorated from smoking cigarettes and feeling like they're on their last leg of life. To me, in my world, as someone who has not done opioids or other drugs, that was a horrendous experience. For me, Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome, a horrible experience for people. So to say, oh, it's just weed, it's just a cigarette, it's just a vape, I think that's absurd because the consequences of that addiction are going to vary from person to person.
To be honest, I don't give a fuck about Taco Bell. I'm about to call up the gas man and get me a 3-5.
Okay, so you got $20 left to your name, you're going to go spend it on weed. Obviously, that's a sad thing. It happens a lot in addiction. A lot of times we are willing to put marijuana and other substances before even eating food. And I get it. This guy made it as a joke. But for some reason, I don't think he's joking. Again, what was the point in that video? Why post that? I don't understand. Why tell us that? And again, how old is that person? It's so sad that so many of these people are so young. And I think this is actually an epidemic in and of itself. It absolutely is within our high schools, on our college campuses, and no one's talking about it. And I'm not saying it should be talked about, demonize weed, ban weed. No, make weed federally legal. Give people more access to it. But let's actually start to have conversations about stuff like addiction to THC, like dependence on THC, like cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. And that's my opinion on this topic. I think it's absurd, and I could find 1,000 more videos like this. And you know what it's all perpetuated by? Social media. You see one person do it, then I want to do it, then I want to do it, and it just spreads like wildfire, especially in today's world, which I'm not saying is right or wrong. It just is what it is, and it's something that we're going to have to deal with at one point or another. I feel really, really bad, and I'm glad that I was old enough to see what was happening because, man, if I got tied up in this at the age of 16, 15 years old, I don't know that I would have made it out. I really don't, especially with all the positive reinforcement. That's why I do what I do. That's why I help people quit. That's why I help people who are struggling. If you are struggling with addiction, it ain't worth it at the end of the day. And stop incriminating yourselves. Stop it right now. They're going to use that against you. Someone's going to judge you based on that at one point in your life. Knock it off. All right. Bye.